When people think of the most influential artists in punk, there are some obvious options. You've got The Clash, the Sex Pistols, Iggy Pop, Joy Division, Black Flag, and Fugazi. But a band that gets overlooked for their considerable influence on punk is the Buzzcocks. Think about it. Their 1977 EP, Spiral Scratch, was the first independently released punk record, which fused the idea of DIY to the punk ethos. It set a precedent for bands releasing their own music. Their New Hormones label predated Rough Trade, SST, Sub Pop, and Discord. Guitarist Pete Shelley and original frontman Howard Devoto also booked the Sex Pistols to play their first Manchester gig, making the band not just a London scene blip, but a national presence, as well as kickstarting the Manchester punk indie scene. Plus, for better or worse, they invented pop punk and did it better than any other band since. But for this video, I'll be focusing on their greatest moment. Ever fallen in love with someone you shouldn't have?
1, 2, 3, 4.
To paraphrase Steve Jones of the Sex Pistols when talking about the Damned's New Rose, our first single was about anarchy, theirs was just about a bird. Punk, in its initial UK setting, seemed to be about revolution, listlessness, and nihilism. To shout about love, well, surely that was the realm of pop music, chart fodder, and everything they were rebelling against. And so too was it for the Buzzcocks in their debut and its key track, Boredom.
I live a straight line, you know me, I'm acting dumb. You know the scene very drum. Boredom.
The more cry-rallying nature of the lyrics, perhaps a symptom of Devoto. He left not too long after to form Magazine, and Shelley took his place. What Shelley brought to the band was his tangled love life, which he poured into the Buzzcocks songs.
I think after you've got bored and you find something to do, then you start concentrating on things like being in love. I mean, I think people have more things to do than just talk about how bored they are. And I think falling in love is one of the things that most people do.
Singles What Do I Get, I Don't Mind, and Love You More were all infused with the bubbling of teenage frustration and romantic misadventure. Being one of the first openly bisexual musicians in punk, it gave those that were likewise orientated the comfort of being accepted by the scene. But the songs themselves are about falling in love with either side of the gender spectrum. Love You More was about a girl he met in a shop. Ever Fallen in Love was about Francis Cookson, a man Shelley lived with in the late 70s. Shelley's genius move was to use gender unspecific pronouns like you or me, instead of he or she.
You make me feel understood and I'm hurt.
Shelley noted, I tried to be as gender neutral as possible in writing songs, because for me I could use the same song for either sex. Simply put, anyone who has ever been in love can relate to Shelley's songs. Of course, some of the punk elite looked down on the Buzzcocks for focusing on love and relationships and their lack of political subject matter in their singles. Shelley countered this. Well, I never knew there was law against sounding vulnerable. And anyway, personal politics are part of the human condition, so what could be more political than human relationships? Many of those songs are more about not having love, the downside of things. And this is what brings us to the unparalleled pop-punk gem, Ever Fallen in Love with Someone You Shouldn't Have, an aching yet propulsive ode to unrequited teenage love. Further separating them from the punk hoi polloi, the song may be the only one inspired by a big studio musical from the 50s. Between gigs on tour to promote the Orgasm Addict single, the Buzzcocks were set in front of the TV in a guest house in Edinburgh, half watching Guys and Dolls. The following exchange between Adelaide and Marlon Brando's Sky Masterson caught Shelley's attention.
It's easy for you to talk. You're not in love with Nathan.
No, I'm not.
Wait till you fall in love with somebody you shouldn't. Wait till it happens to you.
Shelley recalls, I thought, falling in love with someone you shouldn't have. That's good. The lyrics were written around this line the next day as the band stopped outside a post office. At this stage in punk's development, UK radio would not play anything associated with the movement due to its uncouth and anti-establishment nature. While the Buzzcocks were punk famous, having sold out their initial run of Spiral Scratch, the country at large did not know or care about them. Their prior singles, due to poor radio play, peaked around number 30 in the charts. Ever Fallen in Love would change this, but only after some lyrical tweaks. The original opening lyrics were, "You piss on my natural emotions." Shelley told The Guardian in 2006, "We just had Orgasm Addict out, so we were certainly telling it like it was, and weren't worried about getting played on the radio. But I changed piss on to spurn, which seemed classier. Radio 1 played it and the single set up camp outside the gates of the top 10. Ever Fallen in Love would become the band's biggest hit, reaching number 12 in the UK charts. The song's emotional core is underlined by its music. While the guitar's buzzsaw like any other from the Ramones or the Damned, Ever Fallen in Love is dominated by minor chords, giving the song a downbeat, edgy feeling, which twins perfectly with the song's realization of love's ability to hurt, and the powerlessness of that realization. The drums also do their part, with the halting double tom hits that punctuate the verses. Rarely has percussion expressed the feeling of a skipped heartbeat quite so expertly. This music and this exquisite articulation of teenage feelings would be hugely influential. First by the Smiths, taking the intellectual lovelessness and jangle of the Buzzcocks for their own devices. Just listen to the heartbreak headrush of early singles like William, It Was Really Nothing, or Hand in Glove. This, alongside the more melodic US hardcore bands like The Descendants and Husker Du, with their more muscular take on the pop-punk formula. You can hear the relation on songs like Hope, and Don't Want to Know If You're Lonely. Both became key influences on the 90s pop-punk movement, on Screeching Weasel, Green Day, and some more bands that will get the punks in the comments all riled up. For as much as they came out of the UK punk explosion, the Buzzcocks were a band just as in love with the Beatles, Bowie, and Dusty Springfield as they were the Pistols and Velvet Underground. Punk and pop aren't too different, both caffeinated high-tempo musics that thrive in the single format. And the Buzzcocks single compilation, Singles Going Steady, complete with B-sides, is an unrivaled collection of punk vitality and pop sensibility. Its inarguable high point is Ever Fallen in Love. Everybody has fallen in love with someone they shouldn't have fallen in love with, so everyone can relate to that song. Not just punks, not just pop fans, but everybody. Even my mother, who spent the 70s listening to the Carpenters, ELO, and the Bay City Rollers, had Ever Fallen in Love on 7-inch. That is the universal appeal of Pete Shelley. He will be missed. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, give us a like, maybe comment and subscribe. If you really loved it and everything else I'm doing, consider contributing on Patreon. I've got some great rewards for the various tiers, including exclusive playlists, getting to watch new videos early, and getting your name in the credits. As ever, I'd like to thank my top tier fan-fucking-tastic supporters. Thank you very much for your support. I'll be back in 2 weeks with a new video, maybe earlier. See you then.